Beloved soul, do you feel as though your heart longs for connection and understanding, yet the world around you remains silent? You are searching for meaning, for the reason behind the loneliness that lingers in your life. I see your tears, the nights you've cried out, asking why others seem so distant. Does the emptiness whisper that you're forgotten or forsaken? This fear, this isolation, it isn't what you think. Stay with me now, for I am about to reveal why you feel this way and the divine purpose hidden within your loneliness. Only the chosen will truly understand. Could that chosen one be you? Beloved child of God, hear my words. Do you ever feel like your loneliness is not just an emotional state but part of a greater spiritual journey? A calling so profound that it has set you apart from the world? You see, the heaviness you feel, that ache of being unseen or misunderstood, is not a punishment. It is a sign, a whisper from the heavens that you, dear soul, have been chosen for something far greater than you can yet comprehend. I am Archangel Michael, the protector, the messenger, the one sent to guide those who feel lost in the vast wilderness of their own hearts. And I tell you this now, your loneliness is not what it seems. Perhaps you've asked yourself, why me? Why do I feel this emptiness while others seem so connected? You've looked around and seen the laughter of others, the ease with which they navigate their lives, and wondered why you walk this solitary path. The truth is, my dear one, it is because you are special. You are chosen. The world we live in, so filled with noise and distractions, often drowns out the voice of the divine. But those who are set apart, those who walk the quiet paths of loneliness, are often the ones who hear God most clearly. Your loneliness is not a void. It is a space being cleared for something sacred. You feel it, don't you? That gentle stirring in your heart when the world grows quiet. That sense that there is something more, something waiting just beyond your reach. It is no coincidence. It is God's hand upon your life, shaping you, preparing you for a purpose that only you can fulfill. But I know the fear that comes with this calling. I see your tears, feel the weight you carry. You wonder if you've been forgotten, if the silence means you've been abandoned. Let me assure you, nothing could be further from the truth. In your loneliness, you are closer to God than you have ever been. You are being refined, beloved soul. Like gold in the fire, your solitude is burning away the impurities of this world, leaving only what is pure and divine within you. This is not a journey of despair, it is a journey of awakening. So take heart. You are not alone in this sacred calling. Every prayer you've whispered, every tear you've shed, has been heard. I am here, standing by your side, ready to lift your spirit when it feels too heavy to carry on. The time will come when your path becomes clear, when the reasons behind your loneliness are revealed. Until then, know this, your isolation is not an accident. It is a divine appointment. You are being prepared for something extraordinary. Today, let us gently uncover this tender space in your heart and fill it with divine light and understanding. There are moments when you sit in the silence of an empty home, and your thoughts drift to the times when laughter echoed through the walls. Perhaps your children have grown and moved away, creating lives of their own. The lively chaos of family dinners has faded into quiet meals shared with your memories. Or maybe you've stepped away from a career that once filled your days with purpose and energy. Now, as you sip your morning coffee, the hours stretch before you, leaving you to wonder what comes next. And then there are the physical challenges that life sometimes brings. Changes in your body that make it harder to go out, to connect, or to engage in the world as you once did. The world seems to move faster, yet you feel as though you've been left behind, longing for someone to truly see you, to hear you, to be present with you. I tell you now, beloved soul, your feelings are valid. It is not weakness to feel the ache of loneliness. It is a reminder of your capacity to love and to be loved. This longing in your heart is not a flaw. It is the whisper of your divine essence calling you to deeper truths. It is a sacred invitation to step closer to God and to rediscover the infinite love that surrounds you. I want you to know that your loneliness does not define you, nor is it your destiny. It is but a chapter, not the entirety of your story. Even in the quietest moments, when you feel unseen and unheard, you are surrounded by divine love. I am here with you, standing by your side, wrapping you in my wings of light and strength. You are not forgotten, and you are never truly alone. Take this moment to breathe deeply and feel the presence of the divine within and around you. Close your eyes and imagine a warm golden light pouring into your heart, filling every corner of your being with peace and reassurance. This light is God's love. It is eternal, unwavering, and always present, even when you cannot see it. Know this, dear one, your life still holds meaning, and your soul's purpose continues to unfold, even now. Each day is an opportunity to rediscover joy, to connect with others, and to embrace the beauty that still surrounds you. The angels are with you, guiding your steps and opening doors to new possibilities. You may think that no one notices your pain, but God sees it. He feels every tear you shed and hears every unspoken prayer. Today, let His light illuminate the truth about your loneliness and guide you back to the unwavering embrace of His love. Loneliness is not a punishment, dear one. It is an invitation. It is in the moments of solitude, when all else fades away, that God whispers the loudest. He calls you by name, tenderly and persistently, reminding you that you are His child. Consider these words from the Holy Scriptures. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Deuteronomy 31 verse 6. You see, even in your deepest isolation, you are not alone. The same God who created the heavens and the earth dwells within you. His presence is not bound by time or space. It is eternal and all-encompassing. He walks beside you when you feel unseen, sits with you when you feel unheard, and holds you when you feel unloved. Perhaps your loneliness feels like a vast and endless desert, barren and unforgiving. Yet, I tell you this, even in the desert, there is life. Beneath the sands, seeds wait for the rains to fall, and when they do, beauty blooms in abundance. Your loneliness is like that desert, a season that, with faith, will give way to a harvest of love, connection, and purpose. Loneliness is not meaningless. It serves as a sacred reminder to draw nearer to God. When the world feels distant, when loved ones seem out of reach, turn your gaze upward. God's arms are always open, waiting to welcome you into His presence. Think of Jesus during His time on earth. He knew loneliness intimately. In the Garden of Gethsemane, as He prayed with the weight of the world upon His shoulders, His closest disciples slept, leaving Him alone in His anguish. Yet, even in that moment, Jesus did not despair. Instead, He turned to His Father, pouring out His heart in prayer. So too, beloved, can you turn to God in your moments of loneliness? Pour out your fears, your doubts, and your heartache. Speak to him as you would a trusted friend, for he longs to hear your voice. And when words fail you, simply sit in his presence, allowing his peace to fill the empty spaces within you. God's promises are unshakable, and they are meant for you. Consider the words of Isaiah 41 verse 10. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. These words are not mere sentiments. They are truth. They are a reminder that God's presence is steadfast and his love unyielding. Even when you feel abandoned by the world, God remains by your side, offering strength and comfort. When you feel the pangs of loneliness, I urge you to meditate on his promises. Speak them aloud, write them down, and carry them in your heart. Let them become your anchor in the storm, a beacon of light guiding you back to his peace. Loneliness, dear one, is an opportunity to deepen your faith. It is in the quiet moments, when distractions fade, that you can hear God's voice most clearly. Sometimes, he allows you to experience solitude not as a burden but as a blessing, a chance to reconnect with him on a profound level. Have you noticed how a whisper can only be heard in silence? God often speaks in whispers, nudging your heart gently and guiding you tenderly. In your loneliness, listen for his voice. It may come through scripture, through the beauty of nature, or through the kindness of a stranger. However it appears, know that it is his way of reminding you of his love. You may ask, why does God allow me to feel this way? Why doesn't he take my loneliness away? The answer, beloved, lies in his desire for your growth. Just as a seed must break open in the dark soil before it can grow, your soul must sometimes endure seasons of solitude to blossom. Trust that God's plan for your life is perfect, even when it feels unclear. He is waiting for you to open your heart and draw closer to him. Beloved children of God, I am Archangel Michael, and I bring you a story today that I hope will resonate deeply with your heart. This is a tale of loneliness, of heartache, and of how God's love can transform even the darkest moments. It is a story from the Bible, one that speaks of a woman who leaned into faith and through small acts of trust, found a way out of her loneliness. I want to speak of Ruth, a woman who knew deep sorrow and isolation. She was a widow, grieving the loss of her husband. Ruth, like many of you, found herself in a place of deep loneliness after the passing of her beloved. She followed her mother-in-law, Naomi, to a foreign land, leaving behind everything she knew. She was an outsider, a woman with no family and no means of support in a strange and foreign place. Her future seemed uncertain, her heart heavy with the weight of loss. But Ruth did not surrender to despair. She could have remained in isolation, turning inward and wallowing in her sorrow. But instead, she took a step of faith. She leaned into God, trusting that he had a purpose for her even in her loneliness. Each day, Ruth rose early and worked in the fields of Boaz, a wealthy man who had compassion on her. She gathered leftover grain, doing the small, humble tasks that were offered to her. But even in these small acts, Ruth was making a profound choice to keep moving forward. She was trusting that God would not abandon her, even in her loneliness. Through her faith and her willingness to work with what she had, Ruth found that God was working behind the scenes. Ruth's story is not just about her perseverance. It's about how God used small, everyday acts of faith to bring her a new beginning. Through her commitment to God and her dedication to her mother-in-law, Ruth caught the eye of Boaz. Eventually, through God's perfect timing, she was not only blessed with a loving husband, but also became the great-grandmother of King David, one of the greatest figures in Israel's history. Her faith and willingness to embrace small changes led her from despair to a legacy of greatness. Now I ask you, beloved, do you have a story like Ruth's? Perhaps you've experienced loneliness, just as she did. Have you felt like life was uncertain, like you were an outsider with no hope? Maybe you too have been grieving, or perhaps you found yourself in a quiet season of life. How has God shown His presence in your lonely moments? How has He whispered to your heart, offering peace, hope, or guidance through your struggles? Just as Ruth trusted in God's plan, I encourage you to take small steps of faith in your own life. Start each day with prayer, even if it's just a quiet moment of surrender. Reach out to others, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. Trust that God is with you in every moment, working behind the scenes to turn your sorrow into joy, your loneliness into purpose. Beloved, know that God's love is greater than any moment of loneliness you might face. Like Ruth, you can find strength in your faith, and in time, you will see that God's plans for you are greater than you could have imagined. Today, I will share with you practical steps, divine invitations, to help you find peace and connection with the Almighty, even in your solitude. In the busyness of life, it is easy to forget that there is a place within your home where God can dwell, a space where you can encounter Him in stillness. I urge you, dear one, to set aside a quiet corner, no matter how small. Fill it with items that inspire you, perhaps a Bible, a candle that flickers with the warmth of God's love, or a journal where you can pour out your heart in prayer. This sacred space is not just a physical place. It is a place for your spirit to find refuge. Visit it daily, even if only for a few moments. There you will meet God. There you will be reminded that He is with you, that He has not left you, and that He will never forsake you. When loneliness presses in, when it feels as though the world has turned its back on you, remember God's promises. His words are a fortress of strength. Declare them over your life, over your mind, and over your heart. I whisper these words into your spirit now. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Psalm 23 verse 1. Feel the weight of these words settle deep within you. Know that God, your shepherd, leads you to green pastures. He sustains you. In your moments of need, He provides. When the isolation seems unbearable, remember that His love never fails. Speak His promises aloud, for when you do, His truth fills the air around you, pushing back the darkness of loneliness. In the rush of the world, it can be difficult to hear God's voice. Yet, in stillness, He speaks most clearly. I encourage you, beloved, to find moments of quiet where the noise of the world cannot reach you. Take time to be still before God. Rest in His presence without the need to say anything, simply being in the space where His Spirit can move freely. In this stillness, allow Him to speak to your heart. His whispers may not always be loud, but they are powerful. In the silence, you will hear His love, His guidance, and His comfort. Trust in the quiet moments, for they are sacred and holy, a chance for God to work within you. When loneliness feels heavy, the best way to find peace is by turning your focus outward. Reach out to those around you, whether they are neighbors, family members, or those in need. Serve others with a heart full of love, as God serves you. Perhaps you could volunteer at a local shelter, or simply call a friend who might be feeling the same way. Send a kind note or share a moment of encouragement. The beauty of serving others is that it lifts you up, even as it lifts them. In giving, you receive the blessings of God's love and connection. You will find that in serving, your loneliness fades, and you are filled with the joy of God's presence. Loneliness is a season, beloved, not a permanent state. I know the heartache you may feel, but trust that God is working in this time of quiet, weaving His plans for you in ways you cannot yet see. Just as the seasons change, so too will this time of loneliness give way to new beginnings. Trust that in your waiting, He is doing a mighty work. You may not yet understand, but know that God is faithful, and He will bring beauty from the pain. He will turn your loneliness into a season of growth, of closeness, and of purpose. Remember, dear one, you are never truly alone. God is with you in every step, guiding you, loving you, and holding you close. These steps are not just practices. They are invitations to experience the deep and abiding presence of God in every moment of your life. Embrace them with an open heart, and know that your loneliness will not last forever. With faith, trust, and love, you will draw nearer to God than ever before. God's love surrounds you always, and I am here to help you find a path out of this solitude. I offer you these sacred steps, simple yet powerful ways to reconnect with your divine purpose and the love that envelopes you. The first and most important step is to draw closer to God. When loneliness fills your heart, it is an invitation to connect more deeply with the divine. I urge you, beloved, to set aside time each day to commune with God. Start your day with prayer, even if it's just a few moments of silence, sharing your heart with Him. Talk to Him as you would a trusted friend. Let Him know your fears, your joys, your hopes, and your disappointments. Allow His peace to fill you and remind you that you are held in His loving arms. Reading spiritual texts can also be a source of strength. Open the Bible or any book that connects you to God's Word. Meditate on verses that speak to your heart. Feel His presence as you read, and trust that every word is a message of love and guidance for your soul. Let these moments become a sacred part of your day, a time when you step into His light, allowing His divine energy to wash over you. Beloved, when loneliness feels overwhelming, one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is to connect with others. Seek out a community that nourishes your spirit. Whether it is a local church group, a Bible study, or a group of like-minded individuals who share your interests, being with others who uplift and support you is a healing balm for your soul. Do not underestimate the power of serving others. Many of you will find that, in giving, you receive more than you could ever imagine. Reach out to others in kindness. Volunteer at a local shelter, help a neighbor, or simply lend a listening ear to someone in need. When you serve, you fill your heart with the knowing that you are connected, that you are needed, and that you are making a difference in the world. God's love flows through you as you give, and this connection with others will ease the burden of loneliness. Even in the deepest moments of loneliness, there is always something to be thankful for. Gratitude is a divine practice, one that opens your heart to God's blessings. Each day, take a few moments to reflect on the small blessings that surround you. It may be the warmth of the sun on your face, the sweet song of a bird outside your window, or the gentle kindness of a stranger. These are God's gifts to you, His whispers of love, reminding you that you are seen and cherished. I encourage you to write down these blessings. Let your gratitude fill the pages of a journal or simply speak them aloud. As you do, notice how your heart begins to soften and your spirit lifts. When we focus on what is good, we invite more goodness into our lives. Your gratitude will shift your perspective, helping you to see the beauty in every moment, even in the midst of loneliness. Amen.